My child, my beloved. Heaven has been silent for far too long. But not because it forgot you, no, never. The silence was sacred. It was protection. Archangel Michael has been watching closely, holding his sword in patience, allowing every hidden move to unfold. Tonight, however, something different is about to happen. A private conversation, one not meant for human ears, is going to take place. It will have your name in it. It will carry power. And God has allowed this final intervention to be delivered to you before anything spoken tonight becomes permanent. My beloved, pause what you're doing right now. Don't scroll. Don't doubt. Don't wait. Because what you're about to hear is not just a message. It's an instruction wrapped in mercy. Archangel Michael has waited for this moment, the one moment where your heart would be soft enough, still enough, open enough to receive what was previously hidden. The truth about what's being said in secret is too sharp to ignore, and heaven has only one shot left to stop the result from reaching your doorstep. My child, do you know what it means when God sends a message with no second attempt? It means the time for delay has expired. It means someone close, someone whose face you still trust, is being mentioned tonight in a private gathering. Their mouth may smile, but their words carry poison. And yet, God still believes you deserve to know first, so you can break free before it's too late. That's why this message reached you. That's why you must not walk away. My beloved, there's an invisible line being drawn right now. And only the chosen will cross it in time. There's no alarm bell. No loud announcement. Just this moment, just this whisper that has made its way into your spirit because your angels are still fighting for you. Tonight's conversation will involve your name, your past, your future, and your peace. And unless this message is opened and received before the hour strikes, the outcome cannot be reversed. My child, you must understand what's truly at stake. What's being discussed behind closed doors tonight has the power to delay your blessing or unlock it forever. Archangel Michael saw it before you did, saw the moment someone you trusted chose to speak your name in a circle of shadows. But this isn't to scare you. This is to save you. You're being allowed one sacred chance to see the truth before it unfolds in the physical world. My beloved, if you've ever felt like your breakthroughs were being delayed for no reason, if doors kept closing no matter how hard you prayed, it's because a conversation about your destiny was already in motion. One that you weren't invited to, but one that God overheard. Heaven didn't stop it immediately, because what's said in the dark must be revealed in the light for justice to fully arrive. And now the light is here. And so is your rescue. Subscribe now if you are reading this and your spirit feels a pull inside. This message wasn't written for everyone, only the chosen ones whose name is about to be spoken in private. If you feel it's you, do not wait. Join the ones who receive the next warning in time. The clock has already started. Your angels are watching. Don't let them arrive too late. My child, my beloved. There is a secret meeting happening in the spirit realm, a conversation allowed by heaven, but supervised by angels. It's the final test. Will you see the truth before it plays out in your reality? Or will you walk blind into a setup designed to steal your peace? God is not willing to let you walk unaware anymore. That's why this message came. That's why Archangel Michael is stepping forward after such long silence. It's not too late. But it's nearly the end. My child, my beloved. There are decisions being made about your future without your presence in the room. But what they don't realize is that heaven watches every whisper, every motive, every disguised smile, and every false blessing. Archangel Michael was not sent to interfere without cause. This moment, this exact hour, has been marked because your name is being placed in a space it does not belong. And unless you open your spiritual eyes, the outcome may land in your life as delay, as confusion, or worse, as betrayal. My beloved, have you noticed the strange heaviness lately? The moments where your spirit felt unsettled without reason? That was not your imagination. That was your angel nudging you. Trying to pull your attention away from distractions, from routines, from what looks normal. Because tonight, the unseen becomes louder than the seen. A private conversation will shift something major in the timeline of your life. And if you don't know what to pray for, you won't know what to protect. My child. There's someone you still think is loyal to you. Someone who wears the mask of peace but is holding a weapon of delay. This person has been asked questions about you. Their answers will influence a decision. And the spirit realm has taken notice. God is not watching passively. He has allowed Archangel Michael to intervene, but not with force. With revelation. And what you choose to do after reading this message will either invite the angel's hand, or silence his movement. My beloved. Even now, there is a sense rising in your heart. A knowing. You've been feeling like something has been happening in the background, something not quite right, but you couldn't explain it. You've been feeling watched. Judged. Measured. And you were right. There are plans being formed without your knowledge, and tonight is the moment they gather. But listen closely, because heaven has one strategy left, to tell you in time, so the outcome can be reversed in prayer. My child. This is not ordinary. Messages like this do not arrive randomly. They are scheduled from the throne of heaven. Released only when the heart is ready. You are not here by accident. You're not reading this because of a scroll. You are reading this because Archangel Michael whispered your name before the throne today. And heaven responded. The silence broke. The command was given. You must know what's being said in secret, because it will affect everything. My beloved. My child. You're not just hearing a message. You're stepping into a divine interception. God has allowed Archangel Michael to whisper directly to your spirit, not because you were in danger of being destroyed, but because you were in danger of being misled. That's even more dangerous. Because when you walk in the wrong direction, thinking it's right, you waste time. You delay joy. And you walk beside people who have already decided in secret to betray you when it's convenient for them. My beloved. But the grace of God is so extraordinary that He won't let that happen without warning you. That's what this is. That's what tonight is about. You've been praying for clarity. asking God, what's going on? Wondering why your heart feels the way it does. This is why. This is your answer. A meeting is taking place. A decision is being made about you. And heaven is giving you one final word before the effects of that decision arrive in your life. Dove, if your heart is trembling, if your spirit is rising, this is not just emotion. It is a sign that your angel is nearby, confirming this message in your soul. Subscribe now to seal this word into your timeline. Don't miss the next moment of clarity. What comes after this message will either bless you, or break you. The choice is made in what you do next. My child, my beloved. Do you remember the time you were overlooked, even though you gave everything? The time you were silent while others took credit for what your hands built? Those were rehearsals. What's about to happen tonight could echo those same wounds, unless you take authority now. Not by revenge. Not by suspicion. But by prayer. By awareness. By inviting Archangel Michael to protect the space where your name is mentioned, that only what is true, what is aligned with heaven, will be allowed to pass. My beloved. There are angels walking through the room right now where this conversation will take place. They are not stopping it, they are recording it. Every word. Every glance. Every agreement. And when the moment comes for you to make your next decision, those records will influence how heaven helps you. Because you will not walk blind anymore. You will not be the last to know. The silence is over. This time, you're being told in advance. My child. There is such a power in knowing the truth before it lands. And that's what this message has done. It has placed a divine spotlight on something you couldn't see, a warning not to fear, but to prepare. And you are not alone in this. Heaven's forces are surrounding you. Not to stop what's happening in the natural, but to align what's coming in the supernatural. There's still time. But only a little. My child, my beloved. There are moments in time where the veil is pulled back just enough for you to see what's really going on, not the performance, not the masks, but the root. And this is one of those moments. The conversation that will unfold tonight will not be long. It won't even sound loud. But it will be powerful enough to reroute decisions, and it carries the weight to shake your foundation if heaven doesn't intervene. That's why this message isn't optional. That's why the divine realm waited until now to release this word. The atmosphere has shifted. And you needed to be aware before the words reach the ears of someone who has authority over your destiny. My beloved. Do not be fooled by familiar faces. Not every familiar voice holds your favor in their heart. Some were only ever meant to walk with you for a season. And when they stayed longer than they should have, their words started to change. Their loyalty shifted. And now they are discussing things behind your back, thinking that God is no longer watching. But Archangel Michael has not left his post. He has remained silent, not because he didn't care, but because heaven was collecting evidence. Tonight, the final piece is being placed. And before that is used against you, God is sending this message so you can speak heaven's truth over your own name. My child. You are not forgotten. In fact, Your name has never been spoken more in the spiritual realm than it has this week. And that's why the battle feels heavier. The enemy is trying to discourage you, to make you think you are isolated, but the truth is, you've been promoted in the spirit. You've been noticed. And whenever God marks someone for elevation, the enemy plants a distraction nearby. That distraction often looks like someone you trust. But don't be afraid. Just be aware. You have help that others cannot see. You are protected, but only if you choose to walk in the light of this truth. My beloved, there are certain blessings that God cannot release while your name is still being used in manipulative conversations. That's why tonight's meeting is so dangerous. It's not about what's being said, it's about who is listening. There is someone in that circle who holds influence over something you've been waiting for. A job. A breakthrough. A decision. And if they hear the wrong thing at the wrong time, you could be delayed for months. But because you have been faithful, God is sending this divine message early. Because time is running short, and your miracle is still waiting on your clarity. My child, my beloved. You've been asking God to move. You've been crying out in private, Lord, why does it feel like things are stuck? This is why. The hold was not on your effort, it was on your name. It was on the way your name was being mishandled in private. But now that the truth is being shown to you, now that the angel of God has brought this revelation directly to you, you have authority to shift it. Your prayers tonight can silence the lies before they reach influence. Your obedience to this message can scatter what was being structured behind your back. Dove, if your spirit has been stirred while reading this, do not leave this moment unsealed. Subscribe right now so you are always connected to what heaven is saying next. Because when this type of message shows up, it's not random. It's rescue. And rescue is only complete when the chosen respond in time. Don't let this intervention expire. God is still speaking. My beloved. My child, my beloved. You are not here because you stumbled on a video. You are not here by a lucky scroll. You are here because God whispered your name at the exact moment you needed to hear the truth. Your angel has been holding this scroll for days, waiting for the divine green light to hand it to you. Now that it has been given, time matters more than ever. This warning will not be repeated. What you do in the next few moments will determine whether this message serves as your confirmation, or as the echo you remember later, wishing you had listened sooner. Dove, if your heart hasn't let you go yet, that's because it knows what your mind is still processing. Subscribe now to anchor your spirit in what heaven is doing next. Let this be the moment your protection was confirmed. Let this be the moment where God stepped in, and you didn't miss it. My beloved. There is a reason this message says, Final Intervention. Because heaven does not interrupt earthly conversations unless something sacred is at risk. Your reputation is not just a social matter, it is spiritual currency. And the wrong narrative spoken in the wrong room can damage doors that were once swinging open for you. But here's the truth, God can rebuild what man tries to ruin. But it's faster when you act now. Pray now. Cover your name now. Place your future back in the hands of the one who never lies, never plots, and never forgets who you are. My child. You are the child of the King. Your name has been written in glory. You were not made for confusion or delay or secret manipulation. And yet, the world you live in tries to pull you into these traps over and over again. But the difference now is this: you are aware. You are awake. You are armed. And because of that, you are ahead of what is being planned against you. That is how favor works. It reveals the attack before it can even reach your door. My beloved, let them talk. Let the meeting happen. Let them say what they feel. Because they do not know that you are already covered. They do not know that your name is shielded by angels. They do not know that heaven allowed them just enough rope to reveal themselves. And once they are exposed, God will show you clearly who can remain in your next season, and who must stay behind. You won't have to guess. God is bringing clarity through conversation. And you will not be the victim this time, you will be the victor. My child, my beloved. You are standing in a divine moment, one that many ignore. But you have chosen to listen. And because of that, what was meant to set you back will now become the catalyst that moves you forward. God never wastes betrayal. He never allows confusion to go unchallenged. He always makes sure the righteous are vindicated, not always in public, but always in power. And you, chosen one, are about to see just how powerfully heaven moves when it speaks once, and you respond immediately. My child, my beloved. Something rare is happening right now, and I need you to feel it fully. Heaven doesn't send this kind of message often. When it does, it's because something irreversible is on the edge of being spoken. And God, in His mercy, has chosen to hold it for just a few more hours, to give you time. Not them. Not the ones planning the conversation. You. Because only the chosen are warned in advance. And only the truly called are trusted with the kind of insight that could save their entire future from being distorted by words said in closed rooms. My beloved. Do you understand what that means? You were chosen to be protected before the weapon was even formed. The meeting that's about to take place, the discussion that's been planned in whispers and decided behind your back, will happen. But whether it affects you or not, that depends on this moment. Because spiritual decisions are made in silence, in obedience, in prayer. While others think they hold control over your life, God is sitting above it all, writing the final word. And right now, that word has landed in your hands. My child. Don't think for a second that this message found you by accident. There are people who scrolled past this and didn't feel a thing. There are others who opened it and left quickly. But you felt the weight. You couldn't look away. You kept reading because something inside you knew, this is the one. This is the message I was meant to receive before the next shift. And you're right. You're here at the exact second heaven made the decision to give you the truth. What you do with it now is the only thing left to decide. My beloved. The devil doesn't need to destroy your life in obvious ways. Sometimes all he needs is to whisper your name in the wrong ear at the wrong time, and the rest unfolds without force. That's why this moment is serious. Because tonight, your name will be spoken in a setting where decisions are made, stories are shared, and futures are affected. And if you're not spiritually prepared, you could feel the weight of that conversation for weeks, without ever knowing where it came from. But not anymore. Now you know. Now you see. My child, my beloved. Take your authority back. You don't need to beg anyone for clarity. You don't need to confront, accuse, or defend. You've already been given something far greater than explanation. You've been given foresight. And foresight is power. It means you can pray ahead of the storm. You can block it before it forms. You can silence words that haven't even been spoken yet. And when they try to move against you tonight, they'll find confusion, blank minds, and doors that refuse to open. Because Archangel Michael has already stepped in. Dove, if you feel the shift, let heaven see your agreement. Subscribe now, if you haven't already. Let this be the moment you tell the spiritual world, I heard. I believed. I received. Because the ones who subscribe aren't just following a message, they're entering covenant with the very angels sent to protect their timeline. My beloved. There will be consequences from tonight's meeting, but not the kind they expect. While they gather to question your intentions or discuss your name, a holy reversal is being written in heaven. They thought they were planning in secret, but they were writing their own exposure. And by the time the next sunrise arrives, God will begin revealing to you who stood against you in hidden rooms, and who tried to protect you even when no one was watching. My child. Dove, if you feel the shift, let heaven see your agreement. Subscribe now, if you haven't already. Let this be the moment you tell the spiritual world, I heard. I believed. I received. Because the ones who subscribe aren't just following a message, they're entering covenant with the very angels sent to protect their timeline. My beloved. There will be consequences from tonight's meeting, but not the kind they expect. While they gather to question your intentions or discuss your name, a holy reversal is being written in heaven. They thought they were planning in secret, but they were writing their own exposure. And by the time the next sunrise arrives, God will begin revealing to you who stood against you in hidden rooms, and who tried to protect you even when no one was watching. My child. You don't need to prove your worth to anyone. This message is proof that God already knows it. He values you enough to interrupt your day, break the silence, and send a divine letter signed with urgency. You are not being left alone. You are not being forgotten while people make decisions about your future. You are being positioned, quietly, powerfully, to receive what they thought they could delay. My beloved. There's something else I need to tell you. There was a time when a similar meeting happened. And you didn't know about it. You walked into a season confused, heavy, unsure why everything felt harder. It's because something was decided about you in a room you didn't pray over. But this time, God is letting you interrupt it. This time, the meeting has a witness. You. And your prayer will shift what couldn't be shifted last time. My child, my beloved. There is still time. You still have a window to lift your voice before the words are spoken. Pray. Cover yourself. Cover your name. Call upon Archangel Michael to seal your life in light and confuse the lips of anyone who speaks your name without divine permission. Because when you pray before the plan, God cancels it before it even begins. My child, my beloved, I need you to slow your breath for a moment and feel what is happening right now. This is not just reading. This is alignment. The reason your spirit feels alert, almost awake in a new way, is because heaven has leaned closer to you than usual. The silence that once protected you has now shifted into revelation. Archangel Michael did not watch quietly because he was absent, he watched because timing matters in the spirit. And tonight, timing has reached its edge. What is spoken will try to become law unless it is intercepted by prayer and awareness. My beloved, there are people who believe silence means permission. They believe that because you did not speak, because you did not defend yourself, because you did not interrupt, they were free to decide things about you. But heaven does not work like that. Silence is not weakness. Sometimes silence is strategy. And sometimes, silence is God waiting for the perfect moment to step in so that when He moves, no one can deny it was His hand. That moment is now. And you are being invited into it. My child, my beloved. The conversation tonight will sound ordinary to those involved. Casual words. Logical points. Concern disguised as care. But underneath it, there is a motive that does not come from love. Someone wants control over a narrative that belongs to God alone. Someone wants to shape how others see you, because they fear what will happen if you are fully seen, fully trusted, fully elevated. They do not hate you, they fear losing position when you rise. And fear makes people speak dangerously. My beloved, you have been underestimated for a long time. People thought your kindness meant you wouldn't notice. They assumed your patience meant you were unaware. They mistook your faith for passivity. But heaven knows the truth. You are quiet because you are deep. You wait because you see further. And now that you are being shown what is happening, you are no longer standing behind events, you are standing above them. That is a powerful place to be, and not many are trusted with it. My child, let me tell you something important. Words spoken about you tonight cannot override what God has written unless you abandon your authority. And you have not. By receiving this message, you have already stepped into your role as a watchman over your own life. You are now spiritually positioned to cancel assignments before they mature. This is why the enemy is uncomfortable right now. This is why confusion will hit the room where your name is mentioned. They will forget what they plan to say. They will second-guess their own thoughts. They will leave the conversation feeling unsettled, without knowing why. That is divine interference. My beloved, do not be tempted to act in the natural what must be handled in the spiritual. You are not being asked to call anyone. You are not being asked to confront or accuse. You are being asked to trust that heaven fights better battles than humans ever could. Your role is alignment. Stay still. Stay aware. Stay prayerful. Speak life over your name before you sleep. Ask God to place truth on every tongue that speaks about you, or to close that tongue entirely if the intention is wrong. Heaven responds quickly to prayers prayed with clarity. My child, my beloved, There is something deeply significant about tonight that goes beyond a single conversation. This moment is connected to a larger shift in your life. What happens now determines who is allowed to walk into your next season with you. Some people are being weighed. Some loyalties are being tested. Some masks are slipping without effort. And God is not doing this to hurt you, He is doing it to free you. You cannot carry everyone into the future He has prepared for you. And now, without you lifting a finger, He is beginning the separation. My beloved, you may feel a strange peace mixed with seriousness right now. That is the correct response. Fear is not from God. Awareness is. And you are aware now. The reason this message will not be repeated is because repetition is not required when truth lands fully the first time. You are not meant to be warned again. You are meant to act once, correctly, and move forward protected. This is not a cycle. This is a crossing. My child, my beloved. My child, my beloved. You've been asking God to move. You've been crying out in private, Lord, why does it feel like things are stuck? This is why. The hold was not on your effort, it was on your name. It was on the way your name was being mishandled in private. But now that the truth is being shown to you, now that the angel of God has brought this revelation directly to you, you have authority to shift it. Your prayers tonight can silence the lies before they reach influence. Your obedience to this message can scatter what was being structured behind your back. Dove, if your spirit has been stirred while reading this, do not leave this moment unsealed. Subscribe right now so you are always connected to what heaven is saying next. Because when this type of message shows up, it's not random. It's rescue. And rescue is only complete when the chosen respond in time. Don't let this intervention expire. God is still speaking. My beloved, you don't need to confront anyone. You don't need to defend yourself. All you need to do is recognize what heaven is showing you, and then act in prayer and silence. The power of Archangel Michael's protection isn't in loud reactions, it's in the quiet reversal of demonic plans. While they talk tonight, your angels will surround the space. While they decide things in whispers, heaven will speak louder in the spirit. But only if you choose to align with truth, not emotion. With wisdom, not panic. With light, not fear. My child, this is a sacred moment. You've been given knowledge that others would not be trusted to carry. The conversation taking place tonight is real. But you have the ability to shape what comes from it. You are not helpless. You are not at their mercy. You are held by the hand of God. And because of that, the enemy cannot finalize anything without heaven's permission. And heaven is asking you now, will you respond, or will you pretend this message was just coincidence? My beloved, you've been quiet long enough. You've allowed others to interpret your silence as weakness, but they didn't know you were just waiting for a sign from God. And now that the sign is here, now that the intervention has arrived, you can move forward with confidence. Let Archangel Michael go before you. Let him speak your name in the chambers of heaven with power, with justice, with fire. Let the lies be exposed without you having to say a word. That's how God operates. He vindicates silently, but powerfully. My child, my beloved. The words spoken in that room tonight will never reach their full intent. Because now that you know, now that your spirit is aware, your prayers will cut through the atmosphere like a sword. And the moment you finish this message, heaven begins to act. What was being said will lose its power. What was being planned will scatter. And your destiny, the one they try to control with conversation, will become untouchable. Because God never loses track of the ones He loves. My child, my beloved. The moment you decided to keep reading this message was the moment heaven began shifting something in your favor. There are certain acts of obedience that don't make noise on earth, but they shake the heavens. This is one of them. Your willingness to receive this word is not just a sign of your faith, but proof of your spiritual authority. Not everyone was meant to see this. And fewer still would have the courage to believe it. But you did. And because of that, Archangel Michael has already been dispatched to stand near the space where your name is being spoken tonight. My beloved. You may not be able to hear what's being said in the room, but God can. And what's more, God has the power to override it. You don't need to panic. You don't need to chase anyone for the truth. Heaven is not asking you to investigate, only to intercede. Let your spirit speak. Let your prayers go ahead of the darkness. For every sentence spoken in manipulation, let your prayer release a divine interruption. For every decision made in haste, let the angels of God cloud their understanding until truth rises. Because when you stand in spiritual agreement with heaven, no earthly scheme can stand against you. My child. Some of the delay you felt in recent months didn't come from laziness, or lack of effort, or missed timing. It came from your name being inserted into conversations you weren't aware of. Sometimes people admire your light, but try to keep you small because they fear what will happen if you rise higher than them. They disguise their resistance as concern. They mask their jealousy as advice. And while they seem supportive in person, they speak a different language in private. That's what tonight's meeting is about. That's why this warning had to come just in time. My beloved. There are blessings lined up with your name on them, divine provisions, breakthroughs, encounters, but some of them are tied to human decisions. God may approve it in heaven, but man may hold the pen on earth. That's where the danger lies. If the person holding influence hears a twisted version of your story, your blessing could be paused. Not cancelled, but delayed. And heaven doesn't want that for you. That's why this is not just a message. This is your permission to rise above what is being said behind your back, and command your destiny to move forward anyway. My child, my beloved. The enemy would love for you to ignore this. To click away. To say it's just coincidence. But let me ask you, has your heart not been sensing something lately? Haven't you had dreams you couldn't explain? Unsettling thoughts about certain people? Moments where it felt like someone was talking about you, but you had no proof? That's not random. That was your discernment being awakened. That was Archangel Michael whispering to your spirit ahead of time, hoping you'd notice. And now that you have, you can no longer pretend not to know. Dove, seal your place under heaven's protection now. Subscribe if you haven't yet, because this won't be the only time your name is used without your knowledge. But the more aligned you stay with the messages heaven sends, the more unstoppable your favor becomes. And the more blind your enemies will be when they try to block what God already wrote in your name. My beloved. My child, my beloved. The enemy would love for you to ignore this. To click away. To say it's just coincidence. But let me ask you, has your heart not been sensing something lately? Haven't you had dreams you couldn't explain? Unsettling thoughts about certain people? Moments where it felt like someone was talking about you, but you had no proof? That's not random. That was your discernment being awakened. That was Archangel Michael whispering to your spirit ahead of time, hoping you'd notice. And now that you have, you can no longer pretend not to know. Dove, seal your place under heaven's protection now. Subscribe if you haven't yet, because this won't be the only time your name is used without your knowledge. But the more aligned you stay with the messages heaven sends, the more unstoppable your favor becomes. And the more blind your enemies will be when they try to block what God already wrote in your name. My beloved. There's a reason the Holy Spirit delayed this message until now. Not yesterday. Not tomorrow. Because the conversation happening tonight has timing built into it. Someone was waiting until the right moment to bring up your name. They've rehearsed their story. They've planned the angle. And they believe you'll never know. But they are wrong. Because God always defends His chosen. And sometimes, His defense looks like an early message, like this one. My child. Even now, while you read, there are subtle shifts happening in the spiritual realm. An angel has been positioned beside you, taking record of your heart's response. Not your words, your heart. Do you believe this? Do you accept heaven's instruction? Do you receive the authority that's been passed to you in this very moment? Because if you do, the words said about you tonight will fall to the ground. The conversation will go in circles, achieving nothing. The confusion in their spirit will multiply. And your name will be lifted in heaven's scrolls while their plans crumble. My beloved. This is not about fear. It's about preparation. God would never allow you to walk into the aftermath of something you could have stopped. And that's why this moment matters. You were chosen to hear what others were not ready for. You were selected to know what would otherwise remain hidden. And what you do next, how you respond, how you align your spirit, how you speak over your future, will determine what reaches your door. My child, my beloved. A window of grace is still open. For the next few hours, what is spoken about you can be altered, blocked, reversed. The enemy is not all-powerful. But he is strategic. And tonight's conversation is his attempt to sow one final seed of confusion before your elevation arrives. But heaven, in all its mercy, has allowed Archangel Michael to speak this now so you can cancel that seed before it's planted. And you have all the authority you need. My child, my beloved. The hour is closer than you realize. Heaven isn't just speaking in symbols anymore, it's speaking in direct warnings. Because what was once allowed to remain in the shadows is now demanding light. Tonight's conversation, though hidden from your physical ears, is known in full detail by the Spirit of God. Nothing escapes His knowledge. And it is only His love for you that prompted this urgent message. This isn't simply to inform you, it is to deliver you. Because something spoken in the next few hours could try to distort what God has declared over your life. My beloved, you are not as vulnerable as they think. While they plot in whispers, heaven responds in thunder. And the thunder is not always loud, sometimes it is the stillness in your chest that suddenly turns into wisdom. That strange calm you're feeling now? That's not numbness. That's protection. The angels are already surrounding the people who plan to speak on your name. They are present to ensure that no lie, no false agreement, no deceit-filled strategy can succeed if your heart stays aligned with heaven. My child, let me show you what's truly happening. The person who will mention your name tonight isn't acting alone. They've been advised, influenced, possibly even spiritually deceived. Their words will be wrapped in concern, in logic, in things that sound right. But they are off by a single degree, and that 1 degree is enough to misalign your entire direction if not corrected. That's why God intervened. That's why He allowed Archangel Michael to break the silence. Because once this conversation is spoken, it cannot be unsaid. But its effect can still be dismantled. My beloved, don't doubt what you're feeling right now. You've been trained by pain to ignore your intuition. You've been told to wait and see, to be polite, to give others the benefit of the doubt, even when your spirit felt the stab of dishonor. But no more. This is not the time for hesitation. This is the time to pray with precision. Call your name back from the hands of those who don't carry it with love. Speak divine covering over every space your name will be uttered tonight. Command alignment between your destiny and heaven's original script. My child, my beloved, you are not here because you stumbled on a video. You are not here by a lucky scroll. You are here because God whispered your name at the exact moment you needed to hear the truth. Your angel has been holding this scroll for days, waiting for the divine green light to hand it to you. Now that it has been given, time matters more than ever. This warning will not be repeated. What you do in the next few moments will determine whether this message serves as your confirmation, or as the echo you remember later, wishing you had listened sooner. Dove, if your heart hasn't let you go yet, that's because it knows what your mind is still processing. Subscribe now to anchor your spirit in what heaven is doing next. Let this be the moment your protection was confirmed. Let this be the moment where God stepped in, and you didn't miss it. My beloved, my child, my beloved, the Spirit has confirmed it, you are still listening. That means your soul has not shut down. That means your heart is still reaching, even if your hands feel tired. And that is enough. That single act of staying open, it changes everything. You may not see it, but the heavens respond to obedience more than strength. They respond to faith more than perfection. And right now, because you have not turned away, something holy has been triggered in the supernatural realm, and I must show you what happens next. First, understand this: you are about to walk into a season of visible favor. You will no longer have to explain to people what you carry. The energy around you will speak first. Your presence will shift rooms. Your silence will shake walls. Your name will reach places you haven't even dreamed of yet, not because of your power, but because of your posture. You humbled yourself. You broke quietly. You healed slowly. And you rose anyway. And now, the God who watched you choose light in darkness is commanding the floodgates to open. Not trickle. Open. There are blessings that were withheld, not denied, because they would have been too heavy before. You would have shared them with people who only wanted your light, not your growth. You would have used them to comfort the parts of you that needed healing, not fuel the purpose inside of you. But now, you are different. You are not perfect, but you are prepared. And preparation is the signal for heaven to release what has been held back. And child, what's coming will not arrive quietly. It will be loud. Obvious. Undeniable. Sudden. And it will not come to validate your ego, it will come to prove that God kept His promise. Even when you forgot the words. Even when you doubted if you heard correctly. Even when you assumed you missed your moment. You didn't. You're not late. You're right on the edge of it now, and you will know it, because everything ordinary around you is about to feel too small. The conversations you once tolerated will now feel heavy. The environments you once endured will begin to push you out. The people who once called you will grow silent, not because of offense, but because the spirit in them cannot coexist with what is awakening in you. And you must be okay with that. Because you are not being rejected. You are being released. Released from cycles that mask themselves as comfort. Released from mindsets that made you question your own light. Released from emotions that taught you to expect just enough to survive. But now, the oil over your life has increased. And so has the responsibility. That is why I am here. Not just to comfort, but to commission. You are not being comforted so you can go back to sleep. You are being called so you can finally walk awake. This next part of your life is not just about blessing, it is about becoming. And becoming will require that you stop shrinking to fit the places you've already outgrown. You have seen too much now. You've endured too much now. You've been touched by something too holy to pretend you don't hear the call anymore. So I ask you again, beloved child of the highest.